You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's bright. It's not bright. It's dark. It's dark. It's Thursday morning. Rob's calling from Eastern Time, and he's 1 hour ahead of us because he's over in St. Joe. It's Central Time here, and it's 6 o'clock.
But it's still dark.
It's still dark there as well. Anyway, good morning, Rob. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It might be a little bit lighter than that. I'm actually in Gainesville this morning.
Oh, well, okay.
I'm looking outside. Well, I can see the sun's not up, but the sky is lightning already.
Yeah, well, it's definitely dark here. I got ready to go to Rotary yesterday at 6:30, and I walked outside, and it was just as dark at 6:30 as it was at 6. I went, this is not good. I'm not used to this.
Relief is coming. The changeover date is November the 6th.
Yeah.
So, I guess a week from Sunday.
Golly, November the 6th. Wow. I guess that's what it is, right before election. Speaking of election, I know that I got my sample ballot in the mail yesterday, and it says for president, I can vote for Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Gary Johnson, Darrell Castle, Jill Stein, or Rocky de la Fuente, whoever that is. Never heard of that guy, but he's a write-in. But I see that also for Senator, we got Marco Rubio, Patrick Murphy, Paul Stanton. In Congress, we got Neil Dunn, Walter Dartland, and look, there's a Rob Lapham. I think you might.
How about that?
How about that? Look there, LPF. And then we have Jay Trumbull, and then we have a write-in candidate. And tax collector, we got Chuck Perdue and Amy Baker. And for superintendent of school, we got Bill Husfeldt and James McAllister. And then for Board of County Commissioners, District 2, Robert Carroll and James Morris. I wonder which one I'm going to vote for there. Yeah, okay. Supreme Court justices, I'm just going to say no, we're not going to retain any of them.
Well, and enough people vote yes. They're probably, unless there's a real scandal issue, they're probably going to get reelected.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I also vote no because I think ought to keep them on their toes is my general philosophy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone talks about I hear everybody talk about, we need to have term limits, even in the local elections. What do you think about term limits? And I said, well,
I'd love to have term limits. I'd also, on that ballot you're referring to, I would also like to do what many states do, which is to rotate the order. Do you notice that the Republican candidate is always first? And the Democrat candidate is always second, and the rest of us are always below that. I'm thinking that some number of people might just go ahead and check off the first thing they see, and there really ought to be some kind of rotation as opposed to putting the Republicans at the top of every single ballot.
I guess that's kind of like preparing kids for the FCAT test. They do Christmas trees. I guess the same thing, preparing voters for the voting. Make sure you change around the little ovals where the Christmas tree is backwards, at least. Some people, but I'm amazed that some people don't even pay any attention whatsoever to what's on the ballot till a week before. Right about now, early voting's already started because this show is playing when early voting's already started, and where you're at, it's already started as well. But they don't follow the issues or have any idea who's running till just a few days before it's time for them to go vote. Or I've even seen some people on the day of election day, they call me up and go, who'd you vote for? And I go, what do you mean, who did I vote for? Well, it's election day, and I want to know how to vote on this. I go, man, you've had 6 months to get ready for this, and now you're asking me 20 minutes before you go to the voting polls?
Yeah. Well, James, at least they're asking you. That's better. But I bet you if you took 100 people in Panama City and polled them right now and said, tell me what the amendment issues are, amendments 1, 2, 3, 4, and how you would vote. You'd get more blank stares than you could count. I mean, folks just do not follow the things that require some amount of study. And I know despite what you and others have put out, especially on ballot amendment number 1, and why we should all vote no for it, the vast majority of the public, I have this gut feel that there's a massive amount of ignorance out there.
It's rampant. It really is. When the power companies spend so much money.
It's difficult too when the ads are so slick, Rob, that you have to look for that one word that makes it change.
What was that one word we saw last night? Amendment 1. It says right here. States and local governments shall retain their abilities to protect consumer rights and public health, safety, and welfare, and ensure that consumers do not choose to install solar, not required to subsidize the cost of backup power grid to access those who do. I'm trying to remember, what was that one word we're looking for? O-W, to own. That's what it has to do. The amendment is not expected to result in increase or decrease. The biggest thing on this right here, it's a very slick wording where if I wanted to increase the size of my solar system to supply power to my next door neighbor, I can't do that. I can't sell it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that amendment says. Is you can buy it for your own use.
But you can't buy. You can't
But you
sell
can't
it.
buy it to sell it.
You can't sell it, so
Yeah.
that stifles competition. That keeps small business from even trying to get it. It's kind of like forced monopoly, where we have the taxi cabs that keep out Uber because they pay a higher rate. It's the same thing. It's cronyism. Is what Amendment 1 boils down to, and a lot of people are just completely oblivious to it because it sounds like a nice, warm, fuzzy thing, solar choice, but it's really not a choice. It takes away your choice. Your comments on this?
Well, I'm just going to say we have to keep our fingers crossed. We don't have the budgets that Duke Energy and Florida Power and these guys have, and for all of us going around in our posters and yard signs and so on saying no on one. What are they hitting? 1 or 2% of the population at best, I would suppose.
Right.
And I really do worry about Amendment 1, and we just have to keep saying to everybody who is, listening. And by the way, let's see, this program broadcasts a week after.
Yeah, it'll broadcast on the it's going to be during the first week of November. This is when the show is.
Oh well, so we still have
Yes.
some of the message making out, but. I think we have an uphill fight here. I just worry about the ignorance of the voting public.
Well, speaking of ignorance of the voting public, they just don't understand the issues because, it doesn't affect them. And, it really, most people have no idea or have any desire to put solar on their home because it's so expensive. I've had people say, man, I don't want to pay my electric bill 10 years in advance. I barely can afford to pay it 1 month in advance, much less 10 years in advance. And I'm going, well, that's what you're doing when you put solar on your home. You're paying it up front 10 years in advance at today's rate. It's going to go up in price. It's always, we know everything goes up in price. Nothing stays
James,
the same.
Today, this amendment infringes your rights because of the solar panels on your house or your business. And tomorrow it's going to be, I don't have any solar panels, at least right now.
Right.
But it's going to infringe on my rights later. We've
That
just
it will.
got to stop these we have to stop all this regulatory crap and let folks do what they want to do. Unless it can be shown that you are causing damage to your neighbors or your community, and that's not shown at all, and therefore you ought to have absolute right to do what you want with the power that you generate.
Absolutely. I tell you what, you want to think I'm doing damage to my neighborhood or whatever, tell you what, take that meter that I have out to do some work on your business around here, and in 5 minutes you got Gulf Power wanting to know, what the heck did you do? You just disrupted the grid. I go, what? What are you talking about? Well, you got a power system here. You're backfeeding the grid, and we're expecting, that 17 kW that you're generating, you're actually feeding power to several houses and businesses around here. And when you pulled that meter out, we lost all that power, and we had to, it flipped a couple circuit breakers. And I went, really? And they go, yeah. We depend on this to supply power in this area, especially during the summertime. And I went, oh, wow. And he said, well, I'm glad you put the meter back in because we really needed it because we've got it configured around your neighborhood, how much power it needs. And we know by monitoring on your smart meter what you're putting out. So that way we can control the flow of electricity. And I went, I had no idea. But we are contributing to my neighbor's well-being. And and Gulf Power doesn't like the idea they're having to buy that power back from me. They don't mind selling me power, but they don't like the idea of them having to buy it back. And that's what this Amendment 1 will take away. Maybe you're right for them to buy it back from you. That's another thing that's a possibility. So I don't know.
Would you like to generate a big boost in visibility for a master auto technician?
Yeah.
That great big sign outside your office ought to say, James, the master auto technician and power distribution company.
Yes.
And, the newspaper, the photographers will be there immediately to take that sign. You'll get lots of press.
It is amazing.
And the statements from Duke and whoever the other power companies are.
Yeah, well, they don't like the idea. Now, we got a few minutes left here. What about Amendment 2? Now, that did not pass by 2 points. It has to have 60%. Last time it got 58%. It's been reworded. Pam Bondi's not fighting it. I think the only people fighting it right now is Big Pharma and the Sheriff's Department.
Like I said before, God makes plants, pharma makes drugs.
That's true. And wait a minute, I forgot about Florida Chamber of Commerce does not like Amendment 2. They're against it, but Florida Chamber of Commerce is for Amendment 1. It seems like everything the Chamber of Commerce is for, James Morris is against. It is.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the Chamber of Commerce. They certainly don't seem to have, in my opinion,
I think
the Bay County, and not that I live in Bay County,
no,
but I have to scratch my head at those folks.
Well, this is the Florida Chamber of Commerce is supporting Amendment 1 and
I'm sorry.
Florida Chamber of Commerce, and also they do not like Amendment 2. They say it's bad. Well, the only reason is...
Well, they're fighting the tide. I mean, let's say it's going in that direction. Frankly, I mean, I wish that the Amendment 2 was not limited to so-called medical use. And what's going to happen, of course, upon passage, and I think it will pass, is that doctors, instead of ordering, a couple of dozen RX prescription pads, they'll probably order a few cases of them because everyone's going to turn up with a medical problem and whatever. And what the amendment really ought to have said would be something like Colorado and set up the infrastructure so that folks who want to smoke pot, and I don't smoke pot, and I don't suggest you do, but if you want to, hey, it's your business, and it ought not to be regulated by anybody.
Absolutely. The Libertarian Party wants to get out of your bedroom and your pocketbook. That's one thing that I tell people all the time. They look at me and go, bedroom? I said, well, it's kind of like, everybody telling you who you should marry, who you can't marry, who you should live with, who you can't. I said, that's none of our business. It's your business, what you want to do. And we want to get out of your pocketbook. We're tired of 40 to 60% of my money goes away before I ever see it. From federal tax, state tax, income tax, sales tax, all these taxes put on there. And we got this half-cent tax they're trying to pass down here. And I got everyone I talk to going, man, why do I want to add more tax that I'm already paying? They've got enough money. I mean, their budget's $300 million. It's increased 300% in the last 20 years. I think we got a spending problem. I go, yep, I think you're right.
I agree with that completely.
We do have a spending problem. Same thing in Washington. We got about 2 minutes left. So Washington has a spending problem as well, not a tax problem. They're taking in trillions of dollars every year and spending it as fast as sailors on liberty.
True, and too many people don't care. I'm recalling 4 years ago when the Republican National Convention was held in Tampa. There was this big, behind Reince Priebus and the people, there was a big debt clock. At that time, it was $15 trillion in debt. And folks said, oh, how terrible. This time, you didn't even see it.
And we're
or
20.
Take more, over the Obama administration, his first budget was $3.5 trillion. And a lot of people, eyebrows raised, made noise, including the $800 billion for so-called shovel-ready projects. And people were surprised at the continued increase in the budget. This last time around, it's not 3.5, it's $4 trillion, and nobody even raises an eyebrow. And it is really disconcerting to see how much money is being spent that we just do not have.
Well, it's all because of deficit spending that started under the Nixon administration, and we went off the gold standard in '71 because our legislators liked the idea of doing deficit spending because you can buy more votes when you put pork on the table back home. And that's what it boiled down to.
Unfortunately, both Republicans and Democrats did that. Started with Herbert Hoover. Every president spent more than he took in.
Absolutely, Rob. Thank you so much for being on here. I think I'm going to have who have I got coming on next time? I got Brian Armstead calling all the way from Maryland. We're going to be talking about a Bentley SUV. All right, you be good. I'll talk to you next week, Rob. Thank you so much, and good luck in this election, sir. We really, Libertarian Party needs all the luck we can get on this. We really do.
Thank you, sir, and also good luck in your election as well.
All right, you be good, Rob. Talk to y'all in a few minutes, everybody.
Care.
All right, bye.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.